Now it's good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just don't don't
Okay.
don't do it like a shimmy, and you're probably okay.
Jimmy,
Yeah, no shimmies.
how you doing today?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you, Josh?
I did not sleep well.
Oh, I can see that. I'm the angriest person when I haven't slept, so I don't really know how you're dealing with it very well.
I don't think I get angry. I mean, I guess I get frustrated to a degree, but I don't have
Yeah.
anybody to be frustrated at but myself.
It's not really logical. When I'm tired, it's just like I'm mad at everything.
Do
I'm
you get angry
included
if
in that.
people wake you up?
Wait, like on purpose? Like, did I need to be up?
Well, does that make it makes a difference?
Of course, there's context. If someone wakes me up for no reason, I'd be like, why are you waking me up?
Yeah, but if
Even like,
let's say someone woke you up because they're like, we should go for a hike.
what? What time is it?
I don't know. It's 10 in the morning, but
Okay. Did I sleep 8 hours?
no,
How many hours did I sleep?
you slept 6 hours, 5 hours.
Oh, no, that's not okay. Why are they waking me up? If I say like go away and they
Because
don't do,
they assumed you had 8 hours.
why would they? Oh, I see. I mean, there's so many contextual things. Like it depends on a
But it
lot of
all
stuff.
depends on the intent. Are you really reading into intent as you're getting woken up?
The only thing that really gets me up is that part of me that is worried about like ruining someone else's day or like taking up someone else's time. So if someone wakes me up and I was supposed to go for a walk with them, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Even
Yeah,
if
but
I
as
only
you're
slept
like
five
getting
hours.
ready, are you feeling annoyed if you haven't had enough sleep?
I'd be annoyed at myself in
Oh,
that
yourself.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's just
I
like,
don't.
yeah.
Are you one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't call you because I wake you up and I don't want to wake you up. I don't want to disturb your sleep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because if someone calls
I
me and
don't
it
mind if
disturbs my
someone calls
sleep,
me and disturbs my sleep. I don't
well,
mind.
I turn my phone on silent when I'm going to bed. I'm
No, I
like,
don't do that.
nobody even has the option. So, yeah.
I don't, as long as I know I can go right back to bed, I don't care. In fact, I kind of like being woken up so that I can have that feeling of, do I have to go anywhere? No. And just go right back to bed. You know that feeling?
That's,
You ever been like when you were young and you get up and you think you had to go to school, but then it turns out you didn't have to go to school and you just go right back to bed?
mm, I don't think I have the same thing. I mean, I do enjoy that, but I don't, it seems pretty different because I plan the day before exactly what I'm going to do the next day. So I know in the
Plan
morning.
exact every day you plan?
Yeah. Do you want to see my to-do
What?
lists? This is my
Okay.
to-do list for today.
What the
And
with
this
your
is,
you write it out like with your hand.
yeah, I write it up by hand. Well, so, okay, wait, sorry. This is my weekly to-do list. So that's like an
Wow.
overview. And then I have it in Google Calendar. And then that was my to-do list for today. So you see a lot of things are crossed out. And then this is my nice to-do list for tomorrow, right? So
Wow. What do you do without that to-do list? Do you just explode?
I don't explode. I just get nothing. I don't get enough done. I'm wandering around. I spend too much time figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing. I might as well get that done the day before so that I'm not wasting time. Because you also like, is this going to be an episode about sleep and like scheduling?
No, this is
Because it
about,
seems like,
well, we need to
because I
I
could
need to know
talk about
about
my
this.
schedule for. Whoop. Welcome back to Adulthood Friends. This is the podcast where two former childhood acquaintances, now friends, discuss the things that kind of matter.
Kinda. It's your adverb of the week.
Yes, it is. And that's Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Aya.
Hi, Aya.
And this is episode 10 of our
10.
podcast, our weekly
10
podcast.
episodes.
That's right. Yeah. Isn't that,
That's a big
that's some
deal.
kind of,
It's not a big deal. It's like a mildly decent deal.
it's a little deal.
It's a deal.
It's a deal. You're getting a good deal on this. Yeah. And you guys are getting a good deal on this because it's totally free. So,
Yeah, exactly. You
yeah.
get, well, depends if you enjoy it.
That's true. If you don't enjoy it, then you're wasting your time.
Exactly.
And speaking of wasting time, our topic of the week is social media.
That was a great segue. Sorry,
Thank
I had to
you.
cut you off to again compliment your segue.
Do you know what I wish? I wish that there were a sound that your face had made because the facial expression that you made.
Oh yeah, I gave you a facial expression first.
Yeah, you had such a good facial expression when I did the segue. It was a little bit of surprise and a lot of delight at the fact that I had made a connection.
I was annoyed by this lack of sleep, but then you made a great segue, and now I feel better.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Segways,
Oh,
yeah. I
do
hear
you hear
the
the siren in
sirens.
the background?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
that's the sound. That's LA right there for you. That's the sound
Yeah,
of
I think
LA.
you've made
Beautiful
that.
sound of LA.
Yeah, I
No,
think
I
you have
said
made
that.
that
What
joke
I told
before.
you that was planes. Actually, I told you planes are the sound of it. Planes
Okay.
and sirens. That's LA.
Okay.
Anyways, what is our topic again, Aya? Now that I've
Um,
derailed us
well,
horribly.
our topic of the week is social media. So, whether you think it is a waste of time or not, that's part of what we'll be discussing. So, what are the hazards,
Benefits,
benefits,
dangers,
dangers,
synonyms.
other things? What are they? And you know, let's talk about it.
Let's get into it.
And we're back. So, Josh, I know you're
Hey,
usually our question asker, but to me, it seems like you do enjoy social media, that you kind of appreciate some of the benefits of it. Is
why
that
do
is that
you
true?
why do you feel that?
Oh, you're just turning my question back on me. I think that because to
Well, what
me,
you said, you said I seem that way to you, but what is
yeah,
it
you seem
about?
that way
Why?
because you're very active on social media. I see how many friends do you have on Facebook? Like you're the person who's friends with someone they just met. You're like, oh, I met someone, friends on Facebook.
I'm gonna
You don't
actually look
actually have to
up how
tell
many
me.
friends I have
I'm
on
gonna look it
Facebook.
up.
I want to
All
know.
right.
I don't know how many friends.
All
I
right.
have 2,308
Jesus,
friends.
that's too many. Do you
Is
know? Do
that's
you
too
even know
many?
those?
Yeah, they're all personally my best friends.
Exactly.
That's no, they're not.
Right.
How many do you have?
I feel like I don't want to advertise this because it's, let's see. I know that it's
I don't know.
much
You're probably
lower.
proud. You're probably prouder the lower it is.
It could be lower. 272.
272. That's too much.
Well, I'm not friends with 272 people. I might know 272 people, but
And I
so
might know 2,300 and whatever I just said people.
yeah, basically, I just think that like it seems to me that you appreciate the benefits of it because you're friends with all those people, you post things, you're very, to me, you seem very comfortable with the social media language. Like even when we do posts for this podcast, I realize I would never have done those. I wouldn't have been able to. You know, you do it and I think you do it well. So to me, it seems
Huh.
like you know how to navigate that world, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, first of all.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah, no
like to
problem.
think I know how to navigate that world. It's interesting. The things that sometimes I think you see me do on social media are not necessarily the things I love to do on social media,
Mm,
but they're things I feel like I should do or have to do because, as an artist, quote unquote, I need to promote myself sometimes. I need to promote my work, whether that's a movie or a podcast. Uh, and the truth is, self promotion is one of my least favorite things, just as like
oh,
a person. I don't like doing that,
yeah,
but I do appreciate that social media gives me the ability to do that.
right.
So in that regard, yes. But in terms of benefits in general, yes, I definitely. I mean, I like to turn that question on you just to be like a dick, but
Yeah, I know.
uh,
Good job. You succeeded.
well, I think yeah. Well, it's good to know how I come off. Apparently, I come off as a social media hound, I guess too. But
Well, because also when you take like part of the reason I'll say no to most pictures is I'm like, if Josh takes a picture, it's going to end up on Facebook because you like it's not just self-promotion. You're like so happy when you see people that you know or when you get to spend time with people that you know that you just want to like share it, which is it's genuine. I think I can say as your friend that that is a genuine feeling that you have probably. I guess I can't say that because I'm not you, but it seems very genuine. But I don't know. I'm so far from that
no,
that it's hard to
you're right.
understand.
You're right. So when it's not promotion and it's just like sharing
Yeah,
stuff
I'm just
and
happy.
putting stuff out there, I really did get. It's true, and you're right. I'm avoiding this for some reason. No, it's like I'm ashamed because so many people nowadays like to be. I don't know. They like to crap all over social media. In this day and age, especially. And yet, honestly, I do. I love it. Do I think that it has no downsides? Of course not, and we'll get into that. But I love the ability to connect with people with such ease and such access and to do it, comfortably from anywhere. And yeah, I don't like being isolated. I like to be connected to people. I like being social. And yeah, does that mean that I don't need to go out and hang out with people anymore? Of course not. I do. I love hanging out with people in person more. I want to be clear. I like hanging out with people more in person than I do on social media.
Yeah.
But I prefer to have social media hangouts than none.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think, oh, go ahead. You're going to ask me a question.
Well, I just I want to know. Well, I guess you're going to tell me, but I'm
I'm kind of
guessing that
about to
your
tell
thoughts
you,
are.
but
Yeah, you're about to tell me, so that's why I didn't say anything.
so you stopped yourself. We're trying not to interrupt each other, so it's going to come off a little awkward at first because we're just working on it, listeners.
This is going to fail horribly.
Yeah. So I think that you're using it well, because I think that, and I'm assuming that you're using it well because you're using the parts that I would like about it. Like, it is very useful to have Facebook there. Facebook Messenger I use all the time. It's useful to be a way to keep track of people. Like, I have deleted Facebook at different points, and then I'm like, I don't use it so much that it's a problem, and
So you
it's
deleted
harder
it
to. I've
a
deleted it
bunch?
at different points.
How come? Why? I know people who do this. Why did
Well,
you do it? And
I
multiple
kind of
times
wanted
at
to
that.
just shut off that whole thing, but it doesn't make a difference because I only use it when I kind of need it.
So
Because
you
you
don't
can
feel
get
so
stuck into
addicted to it?
scrolling it. No,
So
I'm not
why
so
would you feel the
addicted
need to shut it off? It's just a
because
tool,
sometimes
right?
I use it not well.
Like how?
So I think one of the worst uses of it is when you do like the comparing or you start looking at other people's. Do you ever do a deep dive into people's Facebooks, or like, I don't know, maybe you like someone and you're like, ooh, let's see, or
You're talking about like for like people you like,
well,
the
sometimes,
guy.
well, maybe, yeah. So it can be that, and then you start like doing a deep dive into that, and then you start comparing yourself to like all these other people, or you're like, who's that girl he's talking to, or who's this person, or although sometimes it helps because you're like, oh, I can get a good sense of this person now. So
Well,
I guess it's good and
what are the
bad.
different types of social media? Because I think what are you talking when
Yeah,
you
we're
say
just talking
social
about
media?
Facebook
What
so
is
far, but
you're talking about Facebook? So interestingly, Facebook is becoming like less cool for the newer
oh, for sure.
generations, right? Now, if you're on Facebook, it's like, okay, grandpa.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, Instagram's still pretty cool, I think. So that one, I'm pretty sure, doesn't Facebook own Instagram now as well?
Hmm.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they do. They own
Yeah.
WhatsApp and Instagram, so they got you anyway.
Yeah.
But there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a new one. I
the
like
youngins are
saying
using that.
TikTok. I like saying that like an old person. I like saying, what's the one of the TikToks?
Yeah, you have to
What's
call it the TikTok.
the
That way.
TikToks? And I add an S at the end just to be
Oh,
annoying.
nice. Yeah.
What are you doing on what's this whole TikTok and clock thing? TikTok clock.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, the older people are always calling it the Facebook or like the net. Like, just
I
don't add
know. It
the
was
to
actually
it.
called I think it was called that when it first
But
just,
nobody,
it's not called that
even I
anymore.
know not to call it that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing, so TikTok is like what, like 1 minute video content, something like that.
Yeah.
I have a film I've mentioned on here before, the one that's like really popular. It's called Active Shooter.
Hmm.
It's like 14 minutes long. Somebody uploaded it to TikTok
Really?
in 14 parts. You can
Who
watch
did
like
that?
Active Shooter Part 13.
Wait,
uh,
someone you don't even know?
yeah, some random person. Yeah, because it's popular, so people just shared it everywhere. Now, are they supposed to do that? No, it's not theirs to
Yeah.
do that. But honestly, my co-writer and I, we looked at each other. We were like, "Will this help us?" We were like, "Probably."
Yeah.
Like they'll watch it in parts on here, and then more people will, the TikTok crowd will
Mm,
be exposed to our work, and maybe they'll come check it out on YouTube in full.
great.
And we thought, okay, cool, we're on TikTok now,
Yeah.
without having to actually without having to do anything. But yeah, I haven't really gotten into that yet. So I'm not at the forefront of all social media.
Mm,
Uh,
just the
but
grandpa you ones.
well, there is a brand new one out right now called Clubhouse. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of it from you.
Oh, did I
Yes.
mention it to you?
Yeah,
I'm okay. So
multiple times.
it's new and it's not something I'm very good with yet, but it's not like typical, it's not like Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. It's drop-in audio, it's
Hmm.
called. It's like it's almost like live podcasting.
Huh.
Like you join or create these rooms and people come in and it's all audio
Yeah.
and they join your room and there's like moderators in the room, almost like you're on a stage, and people come in the audience and they can just drop in and listen to you guys talk, or you can drop in and listen to somebody else talk, and then you can virtually raise your hand, and
Oh,
then
that's cool. That
yeah, and
actually
then
is
if you and
cool.
if they yeah, and if it's almost like you're at a TED talk, you
Yeah.
know, and then they can like bring you up on stage and the moderator, and
Cool.
then you can be a speaker, and suddenly, and that's interesting. I'm sure that could be interesting with your friends, but imagine there's some famous people on there. Who's somebody that you would like to listen to? Who's an example?
Mm, I don't know.
You're like, I don't
I
want to
don't.
listen to anybody.
I don't want to listen.
Who's a
um,
famous, the
famous.
president? No, not the president. Who's like a wow? It's like when you try to think of somebody, you
Yeah,
can't think
Sarah
of
Silverman.
anybody.
Oh my God, I've already mentioned
Sarah
her so many
Silverman. You
times
love
on this,
Sarah
but I
Silverman.
do love
Okay.
her. Yeah.
Sarah Silverman, let's say she's on Clubhouse, and she might be by now. It's getting out there. You like see a room that Sarah Silverman is talking
Mhm.
in, and you just drop in and get in the audience of that room. And Sarah Silverman is live talking right there to a bunch of her friends and people about whatever, making jokes. You like virtually raise your hand at one point when they ask a question. They go, "Oh, hey, Aya, welcome. I see that you have a
She
little
says my
party
name.
hat. Welcome to
Oh my
Clubhouse."
God.
Yeah, because they could see your name on there. And they say like, "What's your question?" And you're talking to Sarah Silverman suddenly from like your toilet or wherever you are,
Ew.
and from I don't do I just it's
No,
from
that's okay.
wherever.
Yeah. 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 No, I get it.
Um,
That's a good joke, actually.
that's I mean, a joke. Uh,
Nobody can see your quotation marks, Josh.
they can hear and they can hear
Yeah, they can probably hear
the
it. Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, and this has been an advertisement for Clubhouse. No.
So have you used it? Have you spoken to someone?
So here's the thing. I have used it recently a little bit, but some of my friends in my field, I've gotten really good at using it. And when I mean good at using it is they've gotten, I don't know, you can like follow people, they follow you, like most social
Ugh.
media,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you're like, ugh, ugh.
Sorry.
But this is,
No.
again, that could be very useful
Yeah,
because
for sure.
let's say you're a film person or you're an actor or you want to like meet higher up people, you can like drop into some talk, ask a question, they give you like their email, let's talk more later. It's almost like coming up to somebody after I don't know, like you go to a talk somewhere and then you like go up and ask questions afterwards,
I never
you
asked
know.
questions. I'm not a question
Yeah.
asker. But no,
Yeah.
I can see the appeal. That's actually sounds great. I think.
I mean, that's just one. I mean, and this is social
Okay.
media. But like
Right.
when I told you about this, what did you imagine it was?
Honestly, it's just every time I hear about a new thing, it feels like a lot of work to me for something
Hmm.
that other people are better at and are going to have more energy to do and that they get something out of it. Whereas for me, it feels like a chore. So I just kind of, I don't really engage very well. So even though what you said sounds cool, I was like, do I really want to do that? Not really. I'd rather read like, I'd rather listen to Sarah Silverman stand up or like her on a podcast than just talk to her. I mean,
But
it would
is
be
it
cool to
one or
talk
the
to her,
other?
but no, but I'm not enough of a fan of anyone to really want to.
Okay, so that's fair for the fan purposes. But let's say, again, this is a very particular type of social media I was giving, and that's what I was asking. Like, what did it
Right.
sound like to you? Because a lot of people are like, oh, was this Facebook 3, Facebook 4? Is this some other
Mm,
version of MySpace? What is it? Oh, remember MySpace?
of course, yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I actually wasn't on MySpace.
You weren't? Oh, they had really,
No.
I liked that one because it was fun. It was like an easy way to follow bands. And like,
Oh, very so.
well,
See, there's certain social media.
it came out right when we were in high school. And I was like, oh, look at this band. And you can follow their MySpace and you can listen to some of their songs. And it was
You can
just,
do that on Facebook.
I know, but this was before it was easy to hear everything everywhere. I think it's just the nostalgia.
So you did find use in it.
Yes. So I definitely find social media useful. I find it useful. I don't feel compelled to like to sign on to new ones. Like I got Instagram recently a few months ago because I was like, well, people say it's fine. or people seem really into it. And like I barely go on it. I don't see the appeal really. I feel maybe I'm not following enough people, but then even that I'm like I have to find out who to follow. Like, no thank you. It's just another thing that dings on my phone. I don't like things dinging on my phone. I like when my phone is quiet and I get to pick.
You like to be in control. But
Yeah,
you know what's interesting? Instagram, I guess I'm more heavy on Instagram than you nowadays. I didn't used to be. I actually took a very long time to get to Instagram. I'm not necessarily an early adopter of everything.
right.
Because the way I saw Instagram was that it's basically a piece of Facebook. I actually quite like Facebook. I like the design, even though it changes its design every like week. What is it? Facebook. If you like just took the photo like part
Yeah,
of Facebook, that's Instagram. If you just took the status update part of Instagram
right,
of Facebook, that's Twitter,
right.
right? I feel like all these other social medias that are coming and they just take like pieces of Facebook and
Yeah,
then make it cooler and make that all they do.
right.
And then people have to have all these other social media. So I actually like to be I'm a practical, pragmatic person. I like having
Yeah.
everything in one place with Facebook.
Mm,
So the fact that it's like considered not cool anymore annoys me. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but give me something better.
right.
Give me.
That's a good
I
point.
like things because they work better. Like Twitter isn't better like functionally. It gives you actually less. Like it literally limits the characters you can use. So I don't use Twitter, but I know that because when you focus, it's true when you focus on one aspect, that aspect gets allowed to kind of like blossom, and so we get, I mean, you remember the former president of this country.
Who's that? Oh,
I don't remember him anymore. Yeah,
yeah.
it's out of my head, but I do recall he was very active on Twitter.
Oh, okay. That seems interesting.
Um,
Yeah, I guess a president could use Twitter. Okay, good to know for the
yeah,
future.
and get to, and really reach out to people with
Yeah.
very positive messages.
For sure. Yeah. And actually that brings up a whole other thing that I guess maybe we didn't want to get into yet, but how much power do these platforms have? Like I haven't heard from that president that you mentioned, former president, for a while, and it seems that that's basically just because the social media platforms were like, you crossed the line.
They banned him.
They banned
Oh,
him.
this is a
Yeah.
very interesting topic. I do
Yeah.
want to talk about this, I guess.
Me
Yeah,
too.
why
Yeah.
not? Let's jump into
Yeah.
it now.
Let's
Let's
just
go.
go.
Who
Yeah.
cares about order?
Yeah.
Um,
This is what happens when I don't have to-do lists. I don't
no, so
force an order.
it's a discussion. This isn't a
It's a
lecture,
discussion
right? This
based.
is
Yeah, that's true.
whatever comes up. Okay, so this is a question. Like Facebook, for example, is a very, very powerful company, right? And I mean,
They're essentially a government. Yeah. I,
essentially a government.
I
In a sense, yeah.
I heard that on like I forget who said it, but they said like Facebook is in a weird position because they're a social media platform that accidentally became a government because they have all this information on people and they have to be, you know what I mean? Like they have to kind of
Well,
function
they
like a
govern a
government now.
space.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
the space is
they do.
virtual,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
And if everybody who already, yeah, sure, you might live in Canada, but you also live on the internet and you live
Yeah.
virtually as well, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a virtual space, and Facebook gets to govern that space that they have. That how many billion people are on? That's a lot of power. And then what happens in that space? News and information is shared. Advertisements and companies work in that space as well. You're right. Basically a government, and Facebook has to govern these people, but yet we treat it like it's just some private company.
Mm.
So they can do, they're a private company. If you don't want to be on there, don't be on there. But the reality is like so many people are on there that yeah, they basically have the power of a government. Ben, do you think that's bad?
So it's not bad or good. I think I'm not like, oh, we should like, what are we gonna do? Get rid of social media? I understand why it's useful. Like I said, for me, it's mainly yeah, it's pragmatically useful. If I want to talk to someone, I can talk to them. If I want to look someone up, it's very easy to.
Yeah, but you were pointing out, for example, that Twitter banned the
Oh
old
yeah,
president here, right? So
yeah.
like, and not just Twitter, Facebook banned because
I
yeah,
was
he
just
was
commenting on
saying
the power.
hateful.
They have a lot of influence in a way,
Yeah,
potentially.
because if you say like hateful, so here's the thing: there's like two different sides to this, right? people expect people who run this social media to enforce, to actually to be a government as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's weird. They there's like two sides, right? If you are gonna operate such a space, then you need to enforce it like it's a country in a sense, right? Like you
Right.
need to.
Yeah.
Is there free speech? What does that mean? If is hate speech allowed, right? And they're saying, oh well, it's your responsibility to monitor hate speech, just like a government of a country would,
Right.
you
And that's
know?
hard.
And yeah, and it's like, okay, well, they don't, it's not like there's courts on Facebook. It's just a company like deciding what's
Oh,
hateful or not. Like I
Facebook
think a
does
lot of
have
us
one
think
now.
they have
I
a
think
court,
Facebook,
the Facebook
yeah,
court.
yeah, yeah. They're getting basically like a Supreme Court version. So like, so stuff like that, it's a like it's not part of Facebook, like of the company. It's kind of an external
Yeah,
body that
some oversight
judges.
thing.
Anyways,
So that, but of course, all this stuff starts to become necessary because this
yeah.
virtual space has become so large that it starts to operate. You know, this is not just some small little community, online community. This is like everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's on there, is on social media. Like most people are on some form of social media, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
forgive the plane, by the way. That's again like
Oh, it's okay.
slowly.
I actually can't hear it.
You can't?
I think,
Oh.
yeah. So, I mean, it's not like I have strong feelings about the pros and cons of any particular social media. It's more that I feel overwhelmed with how many options there are and like how much time I could be spending on these. Like, I could waste days on this stuff and get very little to nothing out of it. To me, it just feels like a potentially very big waste of time.
So
That's it.
that's the key right there. You think that you would get very little out of it. And
Yes.
I clearly think I get a little more than you because yes, I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram. I'm not really on Twitter, you know.
Yeah, apparently I'm in charge of our Twitter account, which is
Yeah,
why
you're in
you've
charge
heard
of our
nothing
Twitter.
about it. Yeah, that is why you've heard nothing about it.
You wouldn't hear much from me either. You know, yes, I'm on here and I find because I do find it more useful, right? And we haven't even said it yet, but like what's so useful about it, right? Well, you connect with people. Like to me, what is the one thing what changed our entire relationship as friends?
I don't know. You
We
broke up with
connect, we
your ex-girlfriend and we got kind of more. I liked you better when you were sad. I get along better with
we were
sad
still
people.
talking before that, but
We
yeah,
were
again, we
talking,
got
but I
even
wasn't as into it. No, I'm just
okay.
kidding.
And yes, we would meet each other when I went back to Canada, right?
Yeah,
And we
how
had
does that
these
have
great
to?
talks in person.
Mhm.
That doesn't. But then once we did that, then maintaining that relationship when I went back to LA, I mean, that doesn't happen easily, right? Technology, social media really is there and has been
For sure.
there to help maintain connections and relationships. I really think that it helps contribute to our adulthood friendships, you know?
Yeah, oh, definitely. And I mean, it's been useful in being able to contact people. Like, how many people would have heard about this? Like, we wouldn't have had Michael on in our last episode if he hadn't seen this on Facebook, right?
He
Like, so
saw it
there
on
are so
social
many,
media.
for sure. I'm not denying the pros of connectivity, but there is a lot of what people think they get out of social media is very fleeting approval from
Mm.
from
So it's a
just
tool,
people.
right?
It's a tool. Exactly. If you're using it as a tool, great. If you're using it as a self-esteem boost, I would say that's like very dangerous territory. A lot of people they're on there hoping for more likes. You're sitting there at the mercy of people's clicks. I don't know. I don't like it.
It
It's
makes
a
me
lot
feel
of
dirty, yeah.
energy. And it's a lot of energy into something that will make you feel really good for a second. Like if you posted something and haven't you seen a girl will post a pretty picture and it'll just be like likes and people saying like, what do they say?
Yeah.
Stunners, like so gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like all of those things. And
And they get a lot
and
of a boost to like a self-esteem boost
yeah,
from that.
yeah. And I mean, that's great in a way that they get that self-esteem boost, but it's also it's like fast food.
That's how they start to feel secure.
Exactly. But if you're relying on external praise to make yourself feel better, I mean, it's so temporary. It's not going to last, and you're going to be hungry for it in another however long.
Yeah.
And you're never really feeding. It's not nourishing. It's like eating fast food instead of something nutritious. Like it
You
makes you
know,
feel like, okay, you've eaten something, except, and you feel great in the moment, but you're left, with whatever it is that fast food leaves you with. Can't eat McDonald's every day. Once in a while,
I
great,
mean,
go
you
for
can
it.
try.
But you can, but you're going to end up with problems. So,
But
and
so
other
I
stuff.
agree that that's a problem. We talk about that, the whole, you compare yourself to other people online. You want to get validation from people
Validation.
on
Yeah.
social media, and it's so easy to get that validation or not get it, that it changes your mood in an instant. But in a sense, it's not something that doesn't happen outside of social media. It's just a lot more pronounced and extreme in a virtual space because you have the access is so clear, right? In real life, you might still wear some new piece of clothing, go out with your friends, and be validated when they tell you how pretty you look, right? The same sort of thing will happen in quote unquote real life, but it's just so easy. It happens so much more frequently one way or another on social media because you can get that validation while like lying in bed.
Hmm.
And so then you're like, oh wow, you got that little
Yeah,
dopamine
the
hit.
little dopamine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you go, oh, I like this. I want more of this. And then you start thinking, I don't feel good if I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
So then you start getting, it's true, people can get addicted that way. And that of course that's an issue. But does that mean that this tool is not useful,
No,
or does that mean we just have to adapt to using this tool?
no, I would never say it's not useful. It's a tool. You use it in a way that it is useful, but I just think that I mean, and listen, if people post something, feel great about themselves, and then they, do other things, fine. It's not even like it has to be to the extent that people are addicted that it becomes a problem. It's more just like how much of a waste of time. It's just such an easy outlet for what is that, like, crap? What are the words? It's such an easy way to feed the most superficial versions of ourselves and to like
Okay.
stay at that superficial level, because, and even so, it's not just posting pictures and getting people to tell you they're pretty. I've seen people with like just the most banal insights in boop-a-doo,
Air quotes.
little bunny air quotes. um and they'll just post it, and it's like, and people are like, oh my god, that's so inspiring, that's just, and then they think that that's something, and it's like, it's
Wait, but
not.
you're
Yeah,
but you're also judging a little bit there,
for
right? Because
sure,
they're
I
expressing
definitely am.
themselves. What's the difference between
Are they
that and you saying that to somebody who like comes and joins your friend group and starts sharing their insights to the group, and you're like, God, so
if their
dumb.
insights are like things that people say, and then they say it as if it's like their insight, and it's like, that's nothing. You're saying fluff. This is nothing. I would say the same thing in person, but I don't get
but
to,
that
because nobody
but
posts that. Oh, trolls do, but I'm not a troll. I don't care enough to engage like that. Oh my god, I'm
so
digging myself a hole anytime.
no, these are not. I guess what I'm trying to say in response is I agree that these are issues, but I feel like social media just magnifies it because
Okay,
it's
that's a good
more of
point.
everything. It connects more people, good, but it can also causes more comparison to other people and causes more dumb expressions as well. Or I don't know, I'm being judgmental there too.
No,
But
it's okay.
I mean,
I
we had a whole episode on self-expression,
Yeah.
and our most popular one, right?
Yeah. It is our by far the least popular one, but for those, because
Not
they
that
don't know.
it was great. It's just they don't know. It doesn't. Who wants to click on self-expression, right?
Yeah, I think it was more a conversation between us than like
There you go.
something
Social
that's.
media promotion right there. So, but we're talking about self-expression. I think that social media has allowed for kind of what's the word? Like never before seen like
Yeah, but
self-expression,
maybe it
right?
should go back to.
Really?
You know what? I'm actually thinking of a very specific instance, and like a
Right.
specific.
We it's easy to hone in on anything, but like you said,
Yeah.
if it's just like this virtual world, you can hone in on any aspect, right? People will post things online and then they will get bullied online. And here's something that I do think is because when people get bullied in real life, we just talked about bullying last episode. that's, it's bad either way, but in real life, you really see who's bullying you. You see it come out of their mouth. They're accountable for it
Yeah.
immediately. But in social media, they can hide a little bit, right? They're hiding behind the keyboard. Now, yes, on things like Facebook, it says your name, so they can't exactly hide from their name per se, but still there's a disconnect there, right? It's easy to be like, oh, you're ugly, or you're, an idiot on social media. You might not say that to someone when you're having a conversation with someone in real life, and someone says something you disagree with. You could see their facial expression immediately after you say, oh, you're dumb, and they'd be like hurt. And oh, I shouldn't, that's not the right
It's so
response. I
weird
shouldn't say that. But
because
then,
I
yeah,
think
social media,
yeah,
you do that and no one's responding. You can't see
except
their immediate response.
yeah, I don't think I would want to type anything like that and have it there forever. Whereas if you just say
I mean, I wouldn't
something,
either,
yeah, not that I
but
would
it
say
happened to,
that to anyone either, but well,
but one of the things that does sometimes concern me, right? I'll be reading, and first of all, it's great that people have great discussions and debates about topics on social media. I think it's great. It's getting people involved, right? But you can see these comment sections, these threads sometimes, and they're filled with such hate and vitriol
yeah,
and polarization, and it gets
right,
extremely polarized. And of course, that leads to another kind of pitfall of social media, is the way news is shared. And it's so easy, because it's so
yeah,
easy to, we say, express yourself, and it's also easy to just share anything. Yes, photos, yes, your
yeah,
status, but you can also share links, and you can share news, and that news can be false. You can
yeah.
share anything, and it can travel around, as they say, like a lie can travel all the way around the world before the truth is finished putting on its shoes.
Oh,
you
I've
know
never heard that. That's cool. Yeah.
I love it. I love how when I can bring you like little
Yeah, you should have claimed that
little
that was your
sayings.
own for at least a minute. Now
Oh,
I
that was classic.
no, that
um
sounds very classic.
yeah,
I have this is related but unrelated. Is Reddit social media?
I think so. Yes, it
I
is.
love Reddit. I love Reddit. I could spend hours on it. It's I don't know why I love it so much.
Speaks to you.
It speaks to, and you get into these discussions, and I mean a lot of it's unnecessary, but I don't
It
know.
affects the stock market.
Yeah, it can yeah, that's true in that case. Yeah. You get real glimpse. I feel like because people are kind of anonymous for the most part anonymous on there, you get real glimpses into people's lives sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's
I
just
mean, there's
someone
again
posting
benefits.
something, but it's if it's honest, it can be very interesting. Like I want to know about people's lives. I don't want to know the thing that they want the world. I don't want to see like the painted on thing that they want to show the world. I want to see like the thing that they type at night when they're like in their in the depths of
Delirious.
depression. Yeah, like I that's what I want to see. I love it. And then the people who answer
It brings out sides and thoughts of people that you may
exactly.
never
Yeah. Yeah.
otherwise see. I mean, again, it gives you such access to each other that I
Yeah.
feel, again, privacy is a big deal they talk about,
Right.
but there's something really cool about really getting more access to each other, right? People used to live in their little house separated from each other, and they'd only interact when they literally walked over to each other to
Mm,
interact, right? And then you could send letters that helped you sort of interact, and then you could call each other, and now you're interacting even more easily, but it's
mm,
still only when you pick up, you know now with this always on social media, it's just so easy to access people, and you can access each other at all hours of the night, when you're, like you said,
right.
like when you're delirious or when you're on
Well,
drugs
it's
or
more
whatever is going on.
it's more I like those threads where it's like so there are some where it's just like people are looking for advice and when it seems really genuine, it's so interesting because like then
Hmm.
they get sometimes they get the best advice. I've read like really great posts on there and I'm like, man, this is amazing. And then you think about it and they're like on different sides of the world and like if this
Hmm.
person, like what you said, if this person lived in their own little place and couldn't only had their neighbors to talk to, maybe they never would have realized like that the dude they're living with just exhibited 15 red flags for like a terrible partner. And I mean, there's a joke on Reddit that like every Reddit's always telling people to break up, but like break up with him, like leave him. But
You'll get advice, good or bad.
you'll get advice, good or bad, but you get there's some really good advice on there, and it's like, I mean, there's some really bad advice too, but
Yeah, because there's just more people and more access, so you'll get more of
yeah.
everything,
Yeah, but there's
you
a lot,
know?
like if you really find the right spots, I don't know. So I take it back. I don't hate all social media. I think Reddit is fun.
You
Yeah,
like
I'll spend
Reddit.
3 hours on it. I'm like, I wasted my day, but I really enjoyed it. So
Well, what's nice is you can get access to the best more easily, right?
right. Yeah.
Oftentimes when you're not connected to the world, your access is basically to whatever's closest to you. And whatever's
Yeah.
closest to you might not be the best,
Probably
right?
not. Yeah.
It might be bad. It's kind of like before, a lot of people like to trash online dating. I don't consider it online dating. You date in real life, you connect online. But
Right.
they
That's
like
a
to
good point.
trash it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, before that you would just date whoever was in your office or like in
Yeah.
your area, right?
Yeah.
And you just have more access to more people, good or
For
bad.
sure.
But
Yeah.
then once you have that access, then you can build a relationship. Then you have to start the building of the relationship one way or another, whether virtually or otherwise. But that access, I think, is a really beautiful thing. And I have something I want to say about that. But before that, I just wanted to compare and contrast for like a second. Because
Okay.
like when we grew up, it's almost hard for me to like remember this, but like we didn't have, like back in, Hebrew school, we didn't even have cell phones,
No.
you know.
No, we didn't.
What did we like? What was our method of communicate? Like, how did we hang out with each other? What do we do?
Yeah, we would have to, like, the most direct form of communication was phone calls. We started
Telephone, right?
getting email.
Yeah, when did we get all that? Like, I just want to like build a little timeline here.
Well, we were starting to get email when we were, I remember playing with like Neopets when we were, so that
Oh
must have
yeah.
been, we must have been getting internet at that point, but it's like dial up. So it's like,
Is that
unless you had
when
a
like you
separate
could be on the
phone line,
phone at the same time as you were on the internet or like
right?
ruin
It
it?
was a whole thing. Yeah. Unless you had a separate phone line specifically for the internet. It was,
Do you remember when you had to like pay to like be on the internet for like you like go somewhere
I still
and
pay
then
for internet. What do you mean?
no, I don't mean that. I mean like you'd
Like
like
an
go
internet
somewhere.
cafe?
Yeah, but anywhere like you would go to like go online, there would be like per minute or something. You'd pay, but then it would also take however long to just dial into the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous. You'd be like, I just need to get a map from MapQuest.
Oh
Uh
yeah. Well, I mean, it seems
remember?
ridiculous now, but I mean, those were all stepping stones to
Print
get
it
where
out.
we are now, right? But
Yeah. But like I just
yeah, no,
remember,
how did we contact
do
each?
you
I
like
think it was
miss the good old days?
do I miss the good old days? That's a great question. I think that it's hard to know. It's hard to see what life would be like right now without it. I would be forced to leave my apartment more often probably because it would be harder to contact people. But I don't mind phone calls generally, so I'm assuming I'd interact with people. I don't
Didn't
know.
people used to like in the age of the phone when it came out, everyone was like, "Oh no, this is gonna ruin everything."
Right. I'm not
Cell
anti
phones.
any, yeah. I'm not like anti social media. I'm more just think that like people need to be aware of their time. Cause like I've spent sometimes when I'm really like tired or I don't feel productive, I'll just spend hours just like letting them dictate what I look at. Like you can scroll, you can click on Facebook and it's like videos and it's just like, oh boom, an hour went by. I don't know. I don't even know what I just watched. Like that's what I'm the way that it sucks our attention away and then we've done nothing. We've improved nothing about ourselves. Like there's a difference between using the stuff to connect with other people and using it to just to waste time because
Hmm.
what? Like I don't we don't value our time. I think we all do.
So would you rather go back to not having it in the first place, or you just like having it but not using it, or seeing everybody else around you use it and then feeling
Huh.
FOMO?
I don't know that I can make I don't feel that kind of FOMO. I don't know that I can make
No.
that kind of judgment. I mean, it's nice. It is nice to be able to connect so easily with people because how hard would it have been before? So I appreciate that connectivity. I wouldn't want to give that up, but I would also appreciate some more quiet time. Like it's fine though, because I can just there's nothing wrong with having those things there because I can choose not to do them. Nobody's forcing me to.
Yeah.
So it's
At least you're
fine. It
honest
does.
about that. I mean, other
Yeah.
people just get so angry at it all the time.
I'm not
you know, and
angry. No.
and I'm not talking about the business side of it and everything. I understand like
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
corporations having
No, that's
so much
different. Yeah.
power and stuff. That's like a whole conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reason I brought up also this, the good old days of the past, quote unquote, right? When we didn't, and how we connected then, because when I look back, I remember being bored all the time, just like being bored so easily. And I realize this isn't everybody,
No, I
but
don't get bored.
I think
I
it's a
don't.
personality thing too. I need stimulate. I need like mental stimulate.
Yeah.
Look how I talk. Like
Oh, we all
you
know.
could just tell. Yeah, I need like mental stimulation all the time. I've always had this urge to just be connected, and the technology didn't exist. And then one day, like when I got a cell phone, and then when I was able to when social media became a thing,
Mm.
even MSN, I remember. But like,
Oh, MSN. Yeah, I
you
remember
remember
that.
MSN? I remember being on MSN all the time, and all it
Oh
was
my
just
God, me
messaging
too.
people.
But that was a
Yeah,
problem. I didn't do my homework. I was on MSN instead.
but you're also connecting with people, and that's nice. But yeah, right. But here's the
But
thing. I
quality
just
or
remember.
quantity? Girl, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say though, like
Yeah.
when I got this stuff, I remember like when I got to undergrad and I had a cell phone and I had a laptop that could access Facebook, and I could be on that laptop in class even. That sounds terrible, but like being on like say Facebook in class. But again, I was just not being connected all the time was torture to me. I remember just again, I was bored everywhere I went, sitting in a doctor's office, just like trying to find a magazine that made me that stimulated me. It was just like
Yeah.
horrible. And then this thing came along, and suddenly I could be connected. I wasn't bored anymore. I always had a way to connect. I always had something to do, and that was good for me. I really think it's good. And people say, "Don't you get addicted to technology? Don't you get addicted to social media?" I don't know if I'm addicted to social media or technology. I think I'm bored if I don't have it. I think I'm
Mm.
actually less happy. I was less happy before it uh, came into
Huh.
play. But now that I can always be connected to people, the fact that I could just call up a friend anytime or message my friends to either meet up in person or just to talk about the events of the day
Yeah.
makes me happier.
Right. No, and that's actually really interesting that but you have, I feel like you're overflowing with energy. So it's like you can kind of it's kind of like a dam. You built sort of a dam, and then that's what social media is. It kind of, I don't know what dams do, but it seems like it kind of
Blocks
directs the
water.
flow, like the water flow, or does whatever. So it, instead of it just being like a rush of energy, like you have so much energy and then you like needed something to take it. So it's like
Like a
it's
great
an
outlet.
outlet. Yeah, it's an outlet for you. Whereas like it's not that I don't have energy, but like I I love turning off my phone. Like if I'm in good company, for example, or like that's a weird way of saying, like if I'm with friends or if I'm having a really good conversation with someone, I turn off my phone and I put it in my purse and I don't hear it. And I don't and
Yeah, that's good. It's good to
I
do
like
because you want to be in the moment, and it's important to be in the moment.
but I like doing that for days if I can. If I'm happy and I don't need, like I go to the phone when I'm like, okay, I want to pay attention to something else. I want something to distract me. Although I'm really enjoying playing chess on my phone. But
Oh, really?
like,
Can we play chess more with each other?
yeah, well, you beat me and I feel like I need to practice more before I can play against you again.
Oh.
Because you beat me like really badly, I think. I just learned. Okay, I watched Queen's Gambit. I started playing.
Yeah.
And then
Queen's Gambit did that for so many people.
yeah, I did. Yeah. So there's yeah, I'm a Queen's Gambit newbie. Whatever you want to
Well,
call
anytime
all those
you
people.
wanna play, because you know what? I
No, I'm
like
happy to. Yeah.
connecting.
No, I love the chess is very fun. Although sometimes I play when I'm tired. Like I'll just make a move and I'm like, whatever, let's see what happens. That is not the way to make a move in chess. I
Yeah.
learned you have to plan like 7 moves ahead, otherwise you're gonna make a terrible move, or like at least 1 move ahead.
Like in real
Anyways,
life. Anyway.
just like in real life. Yeah. When I did like a pilgrimage thing in Spain, and part of it was like kind of turn off the technology for a bit. I didn't have internet access most of the time. I only messaged my mom to tell her I'm fine, I'm still alive. Like that was it. And I loved that. And actually I didn't listen to music for a little while too, for like 5 or 6 days, which is also weird for me. And then when I got to do those things again, it's almost like I don't know, it's almost like you have enhanced attention. Like, have you ever meditated, Josh? I
I
feel
like
like
to
you would
call when I'm
need
standing in the
it.
shower meditation.
Oh my God.
Uh, I feel it feels meditative to me.
Yeah, if you've
Remember,
ever
I also get
meditated, I mean,
bored
it's,
while I meditate.
well, that's the thing though, because your brain has like different, you're a brain person, you know about
Different
brain
modes
things.
and
Yeah,
whatnot.
like the different modes. So like you're kind of letting your attention be taken by whatever grabs it. You have a lot less control over your attention in a way. Sorry,
Hmm.
right? Maybe. I don't know. You do fine.
Oh,
You
are
do
you
fine in
basically
your
saying
life.
that I'm ADHD or something?
No, I just saying that like I'm just saying that like you don't have to be bored. Like there is a lot that's like you could just, well, I'm not going to tell you. That's not what this podcast is, but
No, it's no, no. The truth is, you're not wrong, and of course, it's everything in moderation, right? And that moderation is different for different people.
mm,
So I wouldn't argue that you need more. And I think some people make the mistake of arguing someone needs more or less. You hear that plane again? It's like
yeah, I heard
so.
that now. Yeah. Yeah,
This
yeah.
one's like it feels like it's like next to my house. Yeah. Oh, now there's sirens and planes at the same time. The house is like shaking. Okay, it's dissipating again.
What do you have on your
Um,
finger there?
oh, I'm just playing with stuff because I can't play with the dreidel.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're
uh,
not playing with the dreidel. Yeah.
yeah. So everything in moderation, of course, right? And that, but I
Right.
just think that's different for different people. I
Right.
shouldn't. I've done that to people before as well,
Mm,
and I mean, it's good to point out to either of us, right? I think it's good. Like, hey, pointing out social media can be useful for you for this and that, and well, hey, it's good for you to maybe to disconnect for a little bit and
yeah.
get in touch with yourself and meditate. And you know, again, moderation is good because if you do too much of anything, there's an imbalance, and for your brain that imbalance is not good. But I feel like this sort of fear has for new technology in general has always been around, and it's
Mm,
always been a bit of a challenge for us to adapt, right? The newer
right.
generations just are better at finding that balance immediately. I think they just grow up with whatever that's going to be, if it's, you know. But I think it's been proven that it's overall a tool that we has bettered society. That's my argument. I believe social media has bettered society.
Oh, I don't
You
know if
don't
I
think
believe
so?
it. In some ways, yeah, it's made people more connected, and I guess I can see that for sure. I mean, it's I don't know about it bettering society overall. That's a hard statement to make. For some people,
Oh,
it's
I
made
can.
it better.
I'm making it
You're making it?
strong and
I mean,
forcefully.
listen,
Yeah.
you are right about people being afraid of technology. Even like, so when, what's it called? Like, ebooks came out, people are like, people aren't gonna read real books anymore. First of all, who cares? Like, you don't need to read books out of a paper book, says the girl who loves books. But like, nobody needs to do that. But so many people actually still want to. I remember this like probably 10 years ago when that started coming out. People were like, oh, it's the end of libraries, it's the end of publishing. Like, yes, a lot of it has, maybe parts of it have dwindled. A lot of stuff is online now, but people still love buying books, like paper books. And I mean, there's nothing like reading a book out of a handbook. Like, I have a Kobo. I love my Kobo when I travel. But other than that,
Sorry, my house is literally shaking right now from this helicopter. It's just like swirling above my house. Like, what are they? I feel like
is
they're
this a
gonna
SWAT
bust
team?
in for, yeah,
Yeah.
SWAT team's gonna like bust in for talking to you
Hide
or
your
something.
weed, Josh. Oh.
This is LA. There's nothing to
Oh,
hide.
right.
That's
Never mind.
they'll give me weed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's legal now.
It's
They're
legal
like, we
there.
just wanted to
Okay.
give you some weed, and then the SWAT team will leave.
Yeah, we feel like you're a
We
little
noticed you
too.
didn't seem a little. You need to be more chill, Josh. On.
Yeah. Actually, have you ever considered that? I feel like that could be a.
You were saying, sorry.
Uh-huh. I was saying, I don't remember. Oh, that you probably need to chill out a bit and like just breathe.
Okay,
I
I really want to
you're
tell
like
you.
on speed, like so maybe no, go ahead.
I want to tell you why I think social media is bettering the world. And again, it's not to say there aren't negatives. And we've touched on a bunch of the negatives, right?
Mm,
In fact, let me just give you one of those negatives for me first. Like we talked about my sleep at the beginning.
yeah,
Like, yeah, let's be honest, social media messes with my sleep.
right.
It's not social media, it's my choice to use social media at all hours of the night. Like my sleep, I've had a bad sleep cycle for a very long time. And yeah, my affinity for social media has definitely not helped
Yeah.
in that regard because I love, but that's also, I don't know if it's just social media. If I didn't have social media, I could see myself, if I had the ability, I would go out, and I go out in the middle of the night sometimes and hang out with people and go to
Oh,
24-hour
okay.
restaurants and
Yeah.
do work. Like I like to connect with people more than almost anything. It's like my favorite thing in
Right.
the world. You know, the stuff
You're
I
like
like to do, being a
highly
story.
extroverted. Yeah.
We call that extroversion.
No, because you have a lot of energy for social interaction.
Yeah, but let's say I don't. Let's say some days I lose that I'm out of that energy. But I have a belief that that connection is still important. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll do it even if I don't want to because I prioritize. I actually will prioritize over sleep. Sometimes I'll prioritize messaging people online and stuff, not because I'm
Yeah.
like addicted to it, but because I think it's important to check in with this person I haven't checked in with in a while. But yes, it is in general, it messes with my sleep. It can be addictive to do this. Of course, these are negatives. But bettering the world, let me explain why I think it betters the world. We keep saying it connects people, and I feel like we're just sort of this kind of like a throwaway line. Yeah, cool, it connects people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everything. You know, when we look at the betterment of society, I was actually talking to a friend about this recently, a housemate actually. Where, like, if I were to ask you, like, where does hate stem from? Hatred. Big questions. It's just
Where does
throw out
hatred
there,
come
but
from?
yeah, like
Um,
when your mind, like, what are some of the places hatred stems from? How could hatred develop?
I guess like perceived difference in like
Yeah,
how
right.
if you see that someone else is navigating the world in a way that you can't understand and you can't like empathize or like understand why they would be that way, it can start to, I don't know about if that's hatred. I don't know. I don't hate anyone. So
You don't, yeah, I don't really feel hate. But again, well,
I
let me
don't
ask you
know.
this: when you know somebody,
Yeah.
isn't it harder to hate them?
Depends on how well you know them. If all you know is the stuff they post on social media, it is super easy to hate them.
Okay, all right,
Yeah. If
fair.
you know
But
someone very well,
then you don't really know them is the point either, right? No, and of course, there's some people that if you know them, you hate them. But in general, most people, if you get to know them, you tend to realize they're more like you,
yeah, I know that's what you
right?
wanted me to say. I just didn't,
I
I
know
don't,
you really don't want to say that. You're like trying hard not to, but I don't. I'm gonna make my point because I think I'm right. Okay, I'll just say because like I really think that we all know this, right? People fear leads to hate, and people fear what they don't know.
why didn't you just tell me the answer before, make me stumble along? I don't know what leads
Well,
to hate.
I wanted to
Fear,
know if you had a
fear.
similar train of thought, but you just want to like you want me to be wrong. It's a win lose thing for you.
I just want to make for an interesting podcast for our listeners. That's all I care
And it's interesting when Josh is wrong.
about.
Yeah, well, let me pitch this. If people
Yes,
disagree,
go
they
for it.
disagree. That's
I'm
fine,
listening.
right?
I'm listening.
But fear leads to hatred, right? We've heard this before, right? People will tell you, you know, people who survived genocides and horrible things that have stemmed from hatred. They will tell you it started with fear of the unknown. The people, or they would blame people for their problems because they othered them. They saw them as
Mm,
you know, as some other thing, not someone who's like them, who is them, who's part of their tribe because they were different and because they didn't really know them. So
mm,
when people don't know other people or other things, they assume the worst often, and they assume the worst out of fear. So I always think about these like isolated communities of like homogenous people that you know they get along fine enough with each other because they're like little tribes, but the outside world to them is a scary, scary place. And it's easy to hate people outside of there, even across the world, across the country, um, because they don't know them. So they can start assuming the worst. They can start blaming them for their problems because they don't know them. They don't know them like they know their neighbor. When you know your neighbor, you don't often hate your neighbor. I mean, there's instances, but in general, you don't. So my whole point, obviously, being when you're able to connect with others, like okay, a lot of those times you maybe have somebody coming from one of those little rural areas where you don't interact with the outside world, and you know even your newspapers are also local and biased, and you know, and all the information you're getting is just kind of tailored to you in that little part of the
Mm,
world. And then like, you know, sometimes, you know, some kid from there like gets older, he goes off to university in like a big city and starts experiencing all the diversity there. And they start experiencing, especially let's say you go to LA or in New York, right? It's like a hub for like people from all over the world. And you start getting like a good sample population of what everybody is like. And you start to go, oh, all these people from everywhere else, they turns out that they're just like me. We're all very, very similar. We have some cultural differences or whatever, but we're all very similar. And a lot of that fear goes away once you interact or once you connect. So again, yeah, my point being, social media allows you to connect with each other no matter where you are in the world, and it brings people closer together. And in a sense, it makes the world smaller. It makes us less, I mean, while we're still generally very tribal, even on social media, it makes the world less tribal. It makes us capable of at least seeing each other as one human tribe. And that is very, very useful because now when people are getting bombed in some other part of the country, or
yeah.
people are fighting each other, they're not just some group that's, you know, some other that's over there. That you can see them, somebody on social media share a video with you of that or their experience and talk to you as if they're your neighbor. And I mean, that's everything. Suddenly they're right there. They're right there as close as anybody in the virtual space. The virtual space is not, someone in another country on a virtual space isn't any farther than your neighbor on a virtual space.
Mm.
So it brings everybody closer together. And that to me is invaluable. And that's why I think that's bettering the world, because that to me often, that isolation, that fear of the unknown is the seed of hatred. So, you know, to me, the opposite is that can be the solution.
I agree that it for sure has that potential. I would argue that like it's not just the fear of the unknown when you don't know what it is and it's a faceless enemy. It's also the fear of what you believe you know. So if all I
Yeah.
see on Facebook is a caricature of a some kind, let's insert anything here, might see them as representative and I'll be like, oh no, I actually do know those kinds of people and they say the worst things about this and this and this. Or if I see something like, I mean, I agree it has the potential for that idealistic world that you have where everybody's like, oh, we're all the same, look at us. Except that I'm not saying that it doesn't do that in some cases, I'm sure that it does, but connecting with people is not the same as understanding people, and being connected on social media is not the same as a human connection necessarily. It could be, it for sure
Mhm.
could be, but it often isn't. I know you want to say something, but I'm going to keep talking. No, go for it.
I have a question. I want to ask you because you said that. What? Okay, so I agree, but how do you start the process of understanding?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I agree. It
Yeah,
has
so
potential for it.
I'm not, so yeah, so even what I was saying, it's not like, oh, the solution is boom, we're done. It is, but the point is, this is the step towards it, is my point. Connecting is the
Maybe.
first step. And I'm just talking about the steps. We still have a responsibility. Like I said, we're tribal people, and even on social media, we've been acting very tribal. We've been hanging out in our little social media
Exactly.
bubble,
There you
right?
go.
And our
Yeah.
bubble is like our little town or whatever. And then we just get a little hints of what's going on elsewhere because these social media algorithms are just feeding us our own little bubble over and over again. But we at least have the opportunity and access to reach out outside of that bubble there, right? And
Mhm.
we need to, I think, focus on bettering that aspect. But personally, for example, on my social media, I have friends like across the political spectrum, across the religious spectrum, all over the world, people I
Mm.
disagree with heavily, but
It's
I
like,
get all of that
yeah,
content and I get their news sources and I get all of that in my feed as well. And I just get a good, what do you call it?
a
Like a good,
mosaic.
yeah, mosaic of all that. And I can start to get a sense of where things are at with people
Right.
and why they believe what they believe. But of course, if you stick in your own little bubble, I have friends who are like, I don't
Yeah.
have any friends who are conservative.
Right,
You know, it's
exactly.
like,
That's
well,
very
you
possible, right?
should.
You probably
Like,
should. Well, yeah, and we've kind of talked about that before too, right? And I was thinking like what you said kind of remind I don't know if they still do this because it seems kind of unnecessary now that we have the internet. But do you remember pen pals? Like it's
oh,
kind of
yeah.
like it's like you have 2,000 potential pen pals, right? Like you
Yeah.
have all these because you would get this very personal connection with like someone from a different area, right? Like someone that you would never have talked to otherwise. So for sure, I agree there's a lot of potential for it. And a lot of the time it does happen, and there is a lot of positive connection that comes from, those things, but it's not always the case, and it's not
Yeah.
that often the
Well,
case.
just
but-
like in real life, I mean, you still have the responsibility to take the initiative with connecting with people, right? Just
Right.
because you see someone in your social media doesn't mean you connected with them. Just because they shared it, you saw somebody share a news story. There was this girl I went to USC film school with, and I never talked to her at USC. I just had her as a friend on Facebook. And she posted these like wonderful things all the time. And I liked always reading her posts. And to this day, I'm reading her posts. They're just wonderful things she's sharing about, the good side of the world, positive stuff. And I realized I'm reading this girl's stuff every day. I look forward to what she's posting, but I've not ever interacted with her.
Yeah.
So I sent her a message not long ago. I sent her a message and I was like, hey, we didn't really talk at school. I don't know if we're gonna talk again, but like I just want to let you know that what you're sharing is making my life better, and I really appreciate it, and keep putting that positivity out into the world. Thank you. And she really appreciated me sending that.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her since, but now she knows, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, I have to actually make a connection.
Right.
It's important to connect. It doesn't matter just because we're on social media isn't doing that. So yes, I just want to point out that I agree with what you're saying, that it doesn't just do that. It's giving, like you said, potential, but I'm going to say it's a tool that will help us get there. That's what I mean by saying it makes the world a better place. Like we need this tool in order to do that.
Right.
Because it's either that or teleportation, but like,
yeah, and I haven't
without
figured that out
this
yet, I guess. So
so this is like a really great, this is the easiest way to teleport, is just virtually.
Yeah. All right. Virtual teleportation. I like it. Well, I like that story. I think that's a good way to end our possibly our shortest. No, it's probably not that short, but yeah, I think well, it's a tool, so it can be used for good or bad. It's a lot of potential.
For good or
use
bad.
It the way Josh does, and you will have many friends. Use it the way I do, and I don't know. You'll learn to meditate well.
So like, just to go over right here, right? You can.
Yeah, you do the summary stuff.
Let me list a few of the things you can use for positive, right? You can use it to strengthen your friendships. You can use it to communicate. You can network. Okay, but one last thing we didn't talk about: organize, fundraise. You can use it to do things like fundraising. You can help, bring awareness to certain social. Again, these are just, to me, these are all things that outweigh the negative of the addiction, the interference in your balance, right? I think that's up to a person to kind of find that balance. But I know, I'm just saying, for me, there's a overall, just the idea that you can escape feelings of isolation, help you deal with, you're talking about how it increases anxiety and depression if you don't, like, when you compare yourself, but it can also take, oh no,
I did not say that.
Maybe
no,
I just
but many things
that.
do. Many people do say that.
I infer that, like when you compare yourself
to
others and stuff like that, it can cause those issues.
I said it can suck, but I didn't say it causes anxiety.
Okay. You didn't say it, but
you're inflating my beliefs with the things that you saw on the internet. Don't make me into your straw man of anti. I'm not anti social media, Josh. God damn
okay.
It. Go
ahead. So just the idea of like when you compare yourself to others and things like that, it can lead to depression and anxiety and things like that. But you know what else leads to depression and anxiety? Like isolation. And it can decrease feelings of isolation, right? If you are stuck in your house during a pandemic, social media, can really save you.
There's a difference between feeling isolated, and there's a difference between like solitude and loneliness. There's a whole different thing. So, I mean, it's fine. We don't need to get into that. I feel like we've gotten into it before.
Well, I don't know. But I'm just saying negative feelings of isolation can be addressed with social media.
Or they can be exacerbated by it. But yes, I know I'm supposed to just agree with you at the end so that we have like a nice ending.
No, you don't have to agree.
Or you could agree with me that it could be used as either. It could be either exacerbated or improved.
It's true. Like any tool, you can use fire to burn. You can use fire to burn a house down or to warm you up.
Boom.
But would anybody say that? Would anybody say that we should get rid of fire?
No, and I'm not saying that we should get rid of fire.
And that's my whole point. In general, fire
Yeah.
is needed to advance us and to bring us closer together.
But it's also a good idea to have fire exits everywhere and like fire extinguishers at
Exactly.
regular intervals.
Oh my God, this is a perfect analogy.
That's actually a pretty good analogy. I'm pretty proud of it. I think that the best part of our episode so far is this analogy. Yeah.
Well, anyways, I do want to say that I appreciate social media and helping me better connect with you, Aya, because I don't think you and I would be as close without it.
Well, podcast isn't social media, but okay, yeah. All right, that's nice,
Just
Josh.
a little bit social media.
Well, okay, that's nice, Josh. I appreciate.
You're like, I feel like you're trying to
well.
like, I'm like trying to say something nice while also making my point, and it's annoying you.
A little bit, yeah. You're like, let me wrap this up my way in a way that you can't argue against. I'm not even arguing. I'm just trying to even it out because you're like, it's gonna solve. You're basically saying like social media equals world peace. And
did I say that? Did I say that?
Disagreeing.
Did I say that it equals world peace, or did I say that it's a tool that we need on the path towards it? To stopping things like hatred.
Fine. Yeah, and I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just also saying it's also a path to like increased polarization and hatred. So there's both. I don't think it's one or the other. People get to dictate whether it's a positive or a negative force in the world. Anyways, but I appreciate your positivity and idealism. I think
I'll let
wonderful.
You have that.
Yeah, I get the end. Let me
get it.
Whatever.
You can have it. I'll let you.
Only one of us has a PhD, Josh.
So. Ooh. You used
rude.
it. She whipped it out.
I whipped it out. I don't whip it out.
She whipped out her
often.
PhD and
I save it.
She hit me over the head with it.
Where I get to say, you know what? I'm a doctor.
All right. Take us out of here, Dr. Ishai. Take us out of this episode.
Oh, I'm sorry I used that.
My neuroscience degree. We'll forget about this.
Well, yeah. Let's.
It's not a PhD. So.
Yeah, but you're a master of something, aren't you?
Yeah, film production.
Oh yeah, you're a master in film production. There you go.
That means nothing, I guess.
Nothing means anything. None of these degrees mean anything. Okay. I'm a doctor of philosophy. Okay, that's fine. So, like, what is that even? What is it even?
It's Dr. Ishai, and that's all people need to know.
Yeah, the girl who says like 15 times a minute is Dr. Ishai.
We all say like. Look, and now I want to make you feel better because you should feel you should feel very proud of your PhD.
All of my self-deprecation make me feel better. No, it's fine.
No, I'm very impressed with people with you and people who can. I know how hard it is.
Stop it.
No, you just need to hear it. You need to hear that it's amazing.
I can't use my PhD to hit you across the head and then have you praise me for it. Okay.
You can hit me with your PhD because you know that I value. I think it's cool that you have it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I actually had a student today tell me, you have a PhD? I was like, yeah. And they're like, we should be calling you Dr. Ishai. I was like, no, that's so weird. Just call me Aya, because I have my students call me Aya. Anyways.
Oh, I agree. Dr. Ishai.
Dr. Ishai, except then I don't teach like a Dr. Ishai. I teach like Aya, you know.
What are you saying? Are you saying a Dr. Ishai would not be cool? What are you saying about doctors exactly?
Well, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to tell my little students to call me Dr. Ishai. That's so weird. How far up my own ass am I?
My dad is Dr. Littman, and it's fun. I remember I would have friends come over and they'd be like, "Oh, is Mr. Littman?" He'd be like, "Dr. Littman."
Oh.
And he always managed to say that in a way that he didn't sound like a dick. I don't know. Okay. Like I can't imagine. I would never be able to do that.
No,
I'm
not able to do it. Okay, I'll have to.
But if you're going to be put in years to become a doctor, if you're going to put years into doing that, you deserve the credit.
Sure.
Like take it.
I take it when I'm not winning an argument with you and I decide to pull it out. So.
All right, Dr. Ishai, take us out.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Adulthood Friends. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you like us, if you're enjoying listening to the podcast, please like us on Facebook as well, in the social media world.
Oh, social media? They should
Yeah.
follow us on social media?
Yeah,
Why? Is that
actually,
useful or something?
it's a
For
tool.
you and for them?
It has been useful for this podcast. Yes. In this sense, it is useful, but I don't encourage you to spend more time on it than you normally would.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get to the episode on hypocrisy. Anyway,
Fuck you.
and where else should they be listening to us?
Well, anywhere really. If you listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, anywhere,
Google
Google
Podcasts.
Podcasts, basically anywhere you like to listen,
Yeah,
or
we
anywhere you
exist
don't
there.
like to listen, but it's there. It's there either
Yeah.
way, whether you want to listen or not.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
they shouldn't ask us questions, let's say on social media, or maybe engage with us and engage
So
with their audience. Engage with their, we should engage with our audience.
you know what, Josh? You bring up a good point. We were planning on asking you guys some things and getting some feedback for our next episode. So keep an eye out for that.
And Aya,
And
keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out for that. And then
Yeah, I mean, we want to, like we said, we want to interact more because this is not just you. As much as I love talking to you, Aya, this is
whatever.
We want to also have a conversation with the community and people, and get
let us connect with you.
Yes, we want to connect with, because that's the whole point. We're adulthood friends.
Yeah, let's connect with people. Let's connect the world a little more, because the more we connect, the closer we are to utopia.
It's so hard for you to be sincere as you say that, but it's true, Aya. It's true.
No, it has the potential for it, and that's what we're going for here.
So you're saying is we have to make it happen.
We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, I'm pro trying. I'm just letting you know that it's not always gonna happen that way. Okay. We're done arguing, Josh. Let's just be happy, okay? Let's just talk to our listeners.
You're the best, Aya. It's been great connecting again. All right,
thanks, Josh.
Wait, how do we end this thing usually? Am I just like in the middle of talking and then suddenly it... Rick, got the guitar. Wait, do you hear that plane?
God damn it, Josh.
Huge plane just flew by. All right, sorry, you go ahead.